You know what's the real takeaway from this episode? That these brown girls really know how to party. I gotta go down to one of their weddings. They know how to have fun. What's going on, my YouTubers, subscribers, Marvel fans alike? It is Wednesday, but that means we got a brand new episode of Miss Marvel on streaming on Disney Plus right now. Episode 3 is out. I just finished watching it. It is 5 a.m. in the morning because I was like 3 a.m. Fuck that shit. I was watching at 5 a.m. now, like, you know, regular-ish people. Like I said, this episode was a fascinating episode, I gotta say, because I like the intrigue that this show is kind of showing with Miss Marvel, how they're doing it. Because it's one of the things that's kind of just like, what hooks us? What keeps us going? It's the mystery of it. Make me like, oh, well, I want to figure things out. What does it all mean? Trying to figure out what that bangle, they call it a bangle. I call it a bracelet. Whatever, trying to figure out what it is, what's its origin, stuff like that, and we kind of got an answer, sort of, kind of, from these people that I'm going to talk about in this episode, and I gotta say, I like it. It's fascinating shit. Let's get into it real quick. Let's talk about episode 3 of Miss Marvel, speed run. Let's get into it. Let's talk. First of all, just what I thought overall. I thought it was a pretty decent episode. I like how it pretty much opens up that, yeah, what's his name? Carmen, hottie with a body, you know, learn about the backstory with his people and stuff like that, and we pretty much learned that his people are gens, right? Gens. Yeah, I watched Wishmaster. When I heard that, I was like, oh, so they're clearly the bad guys, the evil. You never watched Wishmaster about that. Gens pretty much just like, yeah, they're mystical. You know, they think that, people think like, oh yeah, you think of Gen, you're like, oh yeah, the genie, Robin Williams, stuff like that, cool time. No, like Gens is actually like in other like religions, folklore, demons and bad shit. As soon as I heard that, I was like, the bad guys, clearly. And their goal is that they're trying to get Kamala Khan's bracelet so they can go back to their own dimension. And, you know, like say us Marvel fans or Marvel casuals, whatever. And they were talking about, oh, we're from different dimensions, stuff like that, you know, different dimensions, and, you know, they call us this and that and the third. Or really just like, oh, my mind's racing, like, oh, what do you guys, Kree? What do you got? Skrull? Secret Wars was happening? But they was like, oh, no, we're gens. And I was like, terrible shit. More day-to-day stuff with Kamala Khan, but she's trying to like balance that like superhero life and, you know, like trying to be normal girl life, but also trying to find the right thing, do the right thing. So you know, the growing stuff that we've seen in like every Spider-Man movie. She does good. I like her. Her and Bruno though, it's like clearly it's like they're in the real friend zone pocket, and Bruno just needs to tell her that, hey, you know what? Kamala Khan, I like you, but at least he told her he's going to Caltech, so there's that. But what I really like about this episode is the family element and the culture, because that one really stands out in the first 2 episodes was the culture, and this one really does it too. But like I said, we got to go to a wedding, we got to actually feel like we're going to, like, I was there. Yeah, phone's going off. Also, this character, I don't want to call him a rabbi because that's Jewish, but this is the you know, the head honcho of the, you know, culture. I like what he was preaching about Kamala Khan, pretty much just like, yeah, being good, it's just like, it's not something that you feel, it's just something that you do. I like those type of messages because that's gonna give her like the, yeah, I know what I gotta do, I gotta be somebody. That's gonna help her find her way, and I like that. I also like the fact that Drew and Bruno kind of calls out like, yeah, you want to be like Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, but she's kind of reckless and shit, so why do you want to be like that? Just be your own person. Wise words, Bruno, even though we don't talk about Bruno. I mean, so relevant. Of course, we get in the episode off without having some type of obligatory Marvel action scene, because it was literally like going down, like, oh yeah, I'm feeling all love, I'm feeling the family, I'm feeling all that element, and then it's like the gens get on the scene at the one end, because of course if there's a wedding and anything is going to get crashed. That's just TV 101. Gens pop in and they do their obligatory Marvel action scenes with Kamala Khan, so that's going down. It's not as interesting as like the rest of the episode, but it's just still cool to see her use her light powers and shit. And the episode ends with the DOD coming in and just Kamala Khan just barely getting out of there, and then her best friend's like, oh, you're that Nightbright girl, why didn't you tell me? She sprints off in the middle of the night. It's just like, well, now I gotta deal with that shit. But it also ends with her, is there her great-grand? A lot of people, is there great-grandma? I don't know. But she pretty much just like, oh, did you see that train? Because, you know, when her and the evil Jen girl, they like locked arms and shit like that, they got a vision of a train or something. You're like, what the fuck is that? And it's just like, oh, did you see a vision of the train? You gotta come to this place. You and your mother, come to this place right now. And then the episode ends. I was like, okay, episode 4, let's go. So Miss Marvel episode 3 is streaming right now on Disney Plus. I had a great time with this episode. I can't wait for episode 4 because I am fascinated with the way that it ended. And they didn't have a lot of the stylized stuff that we saw in the first 2 episodes. I wish there was more of that, but now it's kind of just like, yeah, we're getting some more serious shit. So we'll see next episode. If you talk about Miss Marvel, you think about it, you like it, you don't like it, you hate it, type below, let me know, talk about it. See you guys in the next video. And as always, subscribe. Until next time.